Videos where you have an officer basically around the neck area.
These two retired Vegas cops, now podcast hosts.
You know, they don't have ID, they can't get into a hotel room.
To get them the help they need, especially if someone even gets arrested. A lot of people don't know how the justice system works.
But I want someone to actually know them and know that it's...
Hey everybody, this is David Kohlmeyer, the Problem Solver. Thanks so much for joining us this week. Every single week, bringing amazing people on, different experts, different people have different opinions, suggestions, ideas. Every single week, the goal is to basically get some information, to share it, and hopefully as well to try to solve some type of problem. As usual, I'm David Kohlmeyer, the Problem Solver, retired police officer from Henderson PD and NYPD. And as usual, trying to solve problems every single week out here in Las Vegas, throughout the U.S. as well. Just to give you a quick reference, the number 702-999-1111. If you want to get in contact with me, call in any type of problem that you want to be solved. Again, 702-999-1111. We also have LasVegasProblemSolver.com, where basically is our website with information. We have an app, which is the ProblemSolver.Vegas. Again, if you want to add the app to your home screen, the goal is to always to communicate with myself and my team to basically get the help and to solve some problems that you guys may have. Today we have an awesome person, Jim Root. Jim, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Jim is a guru of Coaching Vegas, which he's the founder of. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. And guru, love that. I love it. Love it when other people give me awesome titles, because you give yourself a title and it seems a little self-serving.
So you're like Coaching Vegas guru to help people basically in business and life, right? Tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I've been a coach for about 25 years now, mainly in the business aspect of it. And one of the things I realized is people that need coaching need more than just coaching in business. They usually need coaching in life as well. So I'm actually right now, Coaching Vegas is launching soon. It's not even available yet, but we are putting together a group of coaches on both business development and personal development. And we're making that into a membership site where people can join Coaching Vegas, and then they have access to all of these coaches in order to find their perfect coach, the one that's going to really help them level up.
I've always seen, so I've been to like Tony Robbins seminars and different seminars in general. They always talk about coaching, or I've listened to CDs over the years. I guess the thing with it is it's interesting. So you're making something where you basically can find what coach that you would want, or someone that you like that's compatible to you.
Exactly.
Right? Or that's going to help you specifically with your needs. Because I know with like my wife, I used to she wanted to do like more of, working out or a partner, stuff like that, like having more of a coach, more physical, right? Like,
Yeah.
So to get her health in order and, working on a weekly basis and stuff like that. But I guess, so that's good. I guess if you could look up different people, right? Like whether it's a male or female, some people may be picky.
Yeah, exactly. And so the trick here is actually to let people experience what it's going to be like to work with that coach before they have to actually work with them. Because making a decision to bring someone into your life for personal or business development, it's a big decision, right? It's like you don't want to make the wrong one. That's a lot like a relationship. You don't want to get the wrong person that's going to be actively in your life helping you improve. And so the platform is designed, and I experienced this myself. I've been doing coaching for a long time, and some people hire me and then they don't really like working with me. And so, we would have known that if you just tested out a couple of coaches before you ended up hiring me. And so by bringing together a group of coaches, not just on the business development side of it, but on the personal development as well, things like weight loss, personal trainers, even relationship coaches. I've been having conversations with mindset coaches and people that go beyond just the results-based coaching, which is what business coaching generally is, and into the personal development and the things that are more internal and personal.
So here's a good question that I have for you. So, when I think about coaching, at least for me, because I've been entrepreneurial and business-wise, and I don't know you that deep in general, but let's just say for anyone looking for a coach, I mean, if I want to make $100 million a year, right, like unlimited amount of money, should my coach be that successful himself? Or, this is a good question, or because sometimes it's like a teacher.
Yep.
You know, basically, sometimes the teacher's, you know, guiding you through. It doesn't matter what they're making wise. But then again, what's interesting is some people will say that, like lawyers will say that lawyers that are really successful are making a lot of money, but the lawyers that I teach is that they're not successful because they're teaching.
Yeah.
So I was thinking to myself, because I've had some other people on the show, and then was one female was on the show. She does some coaching, but she's doing it more, I feel like, with females where you're not to be abused and victimized. And there was another guy here who was kind of a big guy, muscle guy, but he basically had addiction, and maybe alcohol was the issue in the past. So I felt like, hey, and he was, you know, he's a big guy. So I felt like he's a good guy where that if you were suffering from addiction or alcoholism, that he would be a good guy, you know? So I feel like different people have different things. So I guess my question is for the business side of things, what's your take on that?
So, and this actually goes true for both sides, both the business and the personal development side. You make a good point, and this is one of the things that I find is so disturbing about people not getting coaching, because what they say is like, well, I want to make $1 million a year. Have you made $1 million a year? No? Okay, I don't want to listen to you. And I think the real problem with that is this idea that if you can't do, teach, right? And that is true to some extent, right? Sometimes people they can't excel on their own, so then they just start coaching, thinking that they can make some money doing that. But I'll give you an example of someone who doesn't need a coach. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods has a swing coach. Do you think the swing coach is better than Tiger Woods? He's not. He's not better. What he is he's giving him something that Tiger doesn't have. And so when you're looking for someone, business development or personal development, right? A personal trainer doesn't have to have the same body as you in order for you to listen to him and to get something beneficial and to improve your life. He has to have something that you don't have. Now, when it comes to weight loss, obviously you want someone who knows how to lose weight, right? You don't want to get someone that's really overweight to be a weight loss coach, just like you don't want to get a business coach that has never had business experience. But it's not about having the same experience that you want to achieve as much as it is, can this person fill in the things I don't know? And that's, I think, the key to finding a good coach is finding the person that is able to complement what you already have. So you already have some skills. You're already able to do these things. The question is, what is it that you're failing at? Because most people are not failing at everything. They're just failing at a part of it. Using weight loss as the example, it's usually not the exercise. People know how to do that. It's the nutrition. It's the other things. So filling in is the way to really go to that next level. So that's I think my little spiel for why coaching just generally is so important, because it gives you an opportunity to fill in, not I need someone that's a billionaire because I want to be a billionaire. It's like, well, no, you need someone that can fill in on your weaknesses.
It's actually a good perspective. So here's a good question for you right now. So a lot of people, you know, have a regular job and they're working, and a lot of people want to be entrepreneurial and basically want to do something different. So people always say, like, what's out there in general? And I'm 47 years old now. I basically was a cop for 17 years. I got involved in real estate, basically. I guess I always knew about real estate in general, but I guess really when I bought my first home, which I guess was 2009. So I guess it's been about 14 years. I feel, and also so I'll just give you a little more rundown of myself. I had a sun tanning salon when I was between the age of 17 and 22, which was a few years, which was interesting. And I had a little bit of a nonprofit security business where, you know, it was like a neighborhood patrol for security. Again, it was like starting up, you know, that was a security. Then it was a tanning salon while I was going to college. I worked at some different places, but basically, you know, I was a cop from 22 to about 39, 40. And then I started working in different law firms for the last about 8 years, doing business marketing, business development. So, but over the years, right, I've gone to a lot of seminars, and, you know, you always try to do different things. Like there was Excel Communications. I remember when I was in New York City, which is like multi-level marketing. Then I was always upset. Even, you know, it's funny. What's funny about me is, even to this day, Excel Communications you familiar with that company?
I've heard of them.
Okay. Basically, it was like a telephone company service, and you switch over people and you make money, and there's, you know, different ways of doing things. And when in New York City, I kind of knew about it. When I came out here, other people were doing it and got involved. To this day, I feel bad that it never really worked out, but I guess the business even like went belly up and didn't really work out. And then people got involved in ACN. So multi-level marketing is out there. Like I've seen it. I've been part of it. Then I was also with the World Leadership Group, which was basically mortgages and real estate.
Right.
The one thing I'll say is I think it actually helped me in regards to speaking and being open-minded. And I did take a lot of information, because when I went into World Leadership Group, even though I was a police officer at the time, I started getting involved with people that were doing real estate and mortgages and trying to understand things. And at
And
the
by
time,
the way, I have a World Leadership Group book at my house.
oh, do you?
I do.
So I
So very
feel-
familiar.
I feel that it definitely helped me that, in general, and I own 17 pieces of real estate, not to actually, not to gloat. I mean, I'm happy
They
that
call that a humble brag.
well, I guess to me, I'm more excited. I'm more happy that something kicked in, that I did something right? I've gone through seminars and training and time, right? Like eventually something kicked in so I could actually say that all these things has helped me basically being entrepreneurial and speaking and so on. So I'm fortunate, but I always feel like I should have done more, like with Excel and ACN and World Leadership Group. But a lot of these things went belly up or, because of the market,
Right.
when the housing market changed, things changed. So I still don't feel, completely successful myself. I mean, I was a cop for 17 years, 3 police agencies. I retired, I have a pension. So I'm fortunate, but I really feel, so I guess what I'm leading to is that today, in 2023, we're almost going to like World War III.
It seems like it, doesn't it?
And basically past COVID, what do you recommend for people that are listening? How should they be making money? What is the future? Or even if it's, I don't even like saying a side hustle because it seems like negative. Like how should be people making money in today's world in regards to what you're, from meeting with people and being out there and being around for a while?
So a couple of things. There's a lot to unpack there, but I'll share a couple of things with you. Your journey is very interesting. You clearly have maybe not 100% the entrepreneurial gene, but you clearly have the entrepreneurial genetics because you're searching, right? You're searching for that thing that is going to ring the tuning fork in your heart, right? You're like, I'm going to do Excel. I'm going to do world leadership. And these things, regardless of what eventually happened to them, it shows that you are searching for that thing that resonates with you. And so that's the part of the entrepreneurial spirit. And so a true entrepreneur is someone who understands that the result is because of the foundation. People that have a job, they get a paycheck, but they didn't build the systems. They didn't buy the manufacturing stuff. They did, they didn't do any of that stuff, but they're getting a paycheck. And so in the entrepreneurial world, you got to have that DNA to really understand that there's a lot of logistics and stuff in the background that have to be done in order for you to actually, get a paycheck. So, but anyway, to answer your questions, that was just a little kudos to you. But to answer your question,
You said the foundation because I would not normally would say that, but I do agree. It gave me a foundation to basically like to do things where a lot of people say, "Oh, that's stupid. Don't do it. You're wasting your time." You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. Maybe those companies went belly up, but you didn't learn nothing.
Yeah, I definitely
you
learned
learned
stuff.
something, and then you took that to the next thing that you did. And so that's kudos to you. And we should always be learning something with everything we do in life. That's how we move forward. But to your question of how do people make money, side hustle or primary hustle, take your pick. In the world that we have today, I can't tell you which industry is the best, right? Obviously, AI is big right now. Obviously, online selling is big right now. The reality is you can make money at anything. All you have to do is answer a simple question. How much value am I giving for what I'm charging? And I explain this to everyone. It's very simple. In the real world where you get a paycheck, you give an hour and you get $20, $30, $100, whatever it is, right? So you're saying I'm worth, let's say $100 an hour. I go, I work, I make $100. When you choose to start your own thing, whether it's a side hustle or a primary entrepreneurial business, the problem is if you take that mindset that I'm going to give you $100 worth of service and I want you to give me $100, you will lose. What you have to do as an entrepreneur is you have to give $200 for $100. You have to give far more value than what you're charging for. Because if you don't do that, you will struggle. And it's one of the things, taking the business side of it, of my coaching, that's basically what I do. I focus on revenue generation. And everyone comes to me and says, I'm worth $1,000 an hour. I say, great, then you can expect to get $500. They're like, oh no, I'm worth $1,000. Like, yeah, but that's in your own mind. Yeah, you think you're worth that. If you want people to be attracted to you and to come towards you to do business with you, you got to show them that there is value to them. And that's what the gap is making sure that you're giving more than you're trying to take. Most companies, they're trying to get $110 for $100 worth of value. And then they wonder why they're not selling, or they wonder why people are not beating a path to their door because, well, they're not giving enough value. And so my advice to anyone who wanted to start something now is ask yourself, where can you give the greatest value? This isn't about, hitting the right thing or finding that special business that's going to make you a multimillionaire. It's like, no, where are you situated to give the most value? If you love doing woodworking and that's where you can give the most value, then find a way to turn that into your primary business.
So I agree with you saying in regards to value. So you meet a lot of people in general. Like, what do you feel in regards to business? Like these days, it's funny you say that. So if let's have a discussion of what kind of businesses people want to do, side hustle, get into full time. It seems like AI is like where it's at, right? Because I don't even know that much GPT. Chat
GPT.
I haven't got involved in it yet. People talking about it. I said it a few months ago. Like that's where we're at. We need to look into that. It seems like a lot of people are taking whatever products and services they have, and somehow they're adding AI to help some way or the other, or research or writing things in general. So we're at with the AI world now, within the last few months. So some people have supposedly been working on it a year ago, which I'd never heard of.
I've been on ChatGPT for just now over a year. So they launched at the end.
How come people didn't know about it, or just?
Well, they launched at the end of, I think it was the end of September, and I was one of the first people in. And I can tell you from an AI standpoint, this is there's a huge opportunity, not in AI specifically, because the technology and the time and energy that you have to put in to actually do something AI is really, really hard. And if you're not already up to speed on that, you're kind of late to the game. So, but with AI, the power of AI is shortening the gap, is what I call it in my coaching business. So there's a gap between you deciding that you want to do something and the time you start it. Because you start thinking to yourself, you have this mindset of, I want to figure out the pathway. So you say, hey, I have an idea for a podcast. Okay, I got to think about all the things that go into that in order to take the first step. Well, there's a gap of time. Sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a month for people. Sometimes it's a year before anybody pulls the trigger, right? What AI has done is you can, in 5 seconds, say, I'm interested in starting a podcast. Give me the pathway to follow to start it. And AI will give you that pathway. So the gap between when you want to do something and you decide to actually do it can be dramatically shortened, saving a lot of time. And most of what AI gives you is okay. It's preliminary. It's not deep. It's not really great, but it's a good start. And so what I tell everybody is ask ChatGPT anything. It's not going to give you a perfect answer, but it'll give you an answer to start with. It's a place to start. And so then you can start moving forward, and you didn't waste that gap time from the time you thought about doing it and the time you actually got started.
So I haven't got a chance to play with it, which I want to play with it to see, even say like what businesses would be good, 2023, see what they say in general. So I have to play with it. Do you have the app, or is it the best way the app itself?
So they have an app on the phone. I don't like using the app because I do some pretty deep asks of ChatGPT. So I'm not just asking it a simple question. I'm usually asking it a deep question, which requires quite a bit of what they call prompt engineering. So you have to put in the request that you want, and the more detailed and the more specific your request, the better the answer.
So if you do it on a regular computer, are we just going to chatgpt.com? Is that what it is?
If you and I can sound like a commercial for ChatGPT, and I'm not selling them, but no, you go to open.ai, and then open.ai.
AI.
So that's the platform that ChatGPT runs on. And so at the top of the screen, it'll say try ChatGPT. You click the button and it gives you a little thing that says, there's a little thing in there where you just ask it a question.
So it's kind of like a Google platform. Where it's
just it looks like that. It's very simple, and they have a free.
I honestly didn't even know to go there. I mean, I know that there's a lot of sponsored ads that pop up on your phone that talk about getting like the actual app.
Yeah. So you can have it on your phone, but I just find that trying to type a long thing in with my fingers is just, I prefer to do it on
so it's open.ai.
Yeah.
And takes you to a search.
And then you'll go to the OpenAI one, which is their programmers page. But in the top of the screen, it says, try ChatGPT.
So I'm assuming the problem solver could be out of business because you could just put, how do I solve my problem? Then it gives you a list.
There you go. It's like, well, how would I solve this problem?
But you know what's interesting? Even with solving problems as the problem solver, I do feel that even though there's different technology that's out there, that a lot of times this is where maybe the coaching comes into play. I feel having a coach, a mentor is really key. And when I do notice these sponsor ads on social media where it says, do you want to become like an Amazon affiliate? And this is what you need to do, and take this bagel slicer and basically do this or that. I feel like you still need a mentor to show you what you're doing.
It's not so much showing you, because you can have a checklist of exactly what to do, but in that checklist of things to do, that's in a perfect world. You're not perfect. The world is not perfect. And they're giving you the system that says, hey, this is exactly how to do it. Just like Gordon Ramsay giving you a recipe for his beef Wellington. Is your beef Wellington going to be as good as his?
No.
Probably not. Because there's little techniques and little things that you don't realize within that recipe. And that's the same with any business as well. Having a coach allows you, like I mentioned before, to fill in the things that you might not realize you are deficient on. And you only know that until you actually get started. Then once you're started, it's like, oh, wow, I didn't realize this was going to take so much time, or this was going to take so much work.
So what kind of businesses, I'm going back. So I mentioned I'm Amazon affiliated. It seems like that's out there, right? Amazon's not going anywhere. It's become bigger and bigger and bigger. What else is out there? I always say any type of mass distribution, which is like multi-level marketing, depending what product. I know some people today, we went to the same speaking event, luncheon. Someone talked about like electricity and so on, you know. So I haven't really gotten to that one. And solar is really big. A lot of people go on selling solar, but I always get nervous about the solar. I think if for sales and making money, it seems like there's money out there, but it seems like you got to go door to door.
Yeah. Nothing is easy, right? It's like things can be easier for you than for somebody else. And that leads actually to probably the most important thing. And I was talking about some other things from an entrepreneurial standpoint on how to make money. Let me tell you, pick something that you're passionate about. That's it, right? From there's a platform, there's a way to turn that into a primary hustle, not even a side hustle. If you're passionate about it, if it matters to you, then focus on doing that, because you'll be able to overcome roadblocks and things in your way because you love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, like, yeah, you can make a lot of money in solar. I can, right now with my sales background, I could probably make $10,000 a week selling solar to people. But I then have to go and knock on 200 doors every single day, get people slamming doors in my faces, I'm really not passionate about that. It's really not. I'm not really interested in doing that. Do I have the skills to explain solar and why they should buy it and close a lot of deals? Yeah, I could close a lot of deals, but I wouldn't want to. And so now, if you enjoy that and that's something you're passionate about, great. I think you should do that. And I think that's a better driver for
That's interesting.
What to go forward with.
You know, it's interesting myself because I think a lot of times people get frustrated, you know, and then it's easier just to, you know, I'll give you an example. Even the problem solver, I've been doing it. You know, to me, I feel like I've been doing it as a cop for 17 years,
right?
Helping people, and I always enjoy helping people. My passion is to help people, but I like guiding people through the process. But the only way to help people technically, you know, with different problems, like being a police officer, is working in a law firm where people, right, they have problems as well, right? It's an accident, I'm injured, I need a family law, I want to see my kids, I'm going through a divorce. So it happens to work with me with law. But the funny thing is, I don't want to be a lawyer. I mean, I see lawyers do their work, and it's not me. It's not. It's more.
There's a lot of paperwork.
Well, yeah, paperwork. I guess it's very detailed oriented. Where like, I like solving problems where maybe it's on the outside. You know, the inside's a lot of work. It's kind of like when I was a cop. Basically, like I never wanted to be a detective because I didn't really care about the details, and I didn't care about, like, to me it was catching the fish. Right. It's like when you go fishing, you catch the fish. That's the biggest high. But to fillet the fish or to cook the fish, that's
a
boring.
different thing.
You know what I'm saying? There's no high in throwing a fish on
Right. Well, not for
on
you.
a skill. For me, some people, making that best dish.
Yeah.
So to me, like, I used to like catch a bad guy in New York City, I would say, and I would ask the robbery unit or somebody, hey, you looking for a body? You know, because they have to have certain numbers for the month.
Right,
and they say,
right.
I'll take it. I'm like, who cares? I want to go home to my family. Like, you know, I already did the job of bringing the bad guy in.
Yep.
So I succeeded in my eyes. I just didn't really care about filleting the fish and fingerprinting the guy and doing all and processing the guy. Like, there's nothing fun about that whatsoever. So I was not passionate about that. That's why I never wanted to be a detective. Some people think it's really cool to be a detective. I didn't want to actually have a caseload of 100 cases to work on. To me, that was it's boring. It's minute. Where the high was on the street, you know, with the lights and the sirens and things going on, and just catching that bad guy, being in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like we have a file. It's like the past. You know, and then even if once you solve the problem, you got to go out, you arrest the guy. Like there was no high in it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So my high is a little bit of the adrenaline.
And so
junkie.
it's funny because if you look at your own pathway, you found your lane, whether or not it's in the law or in law enforcement or in a podcast like this. You enjoy being in that moment and solving the problem. The cleanup before or after it's not really what you're interested in. It's like let's boil this down and create a solution to this clear problem. And so you found your lane, and I would encourage anyone to find that thing. And it really doesn't matter whether or not in real estate even, right? I imagine as you're purchasing real estate homes and your real estate investment mindset, you're looking for homes that have a problem, and you're coming in to solve that problem. Same thing, right? And so you found your lane, and I think that's important for everyone to do. And that's something that a coach can help you do, is figure out what your own mindset is and what's important to you.
The homes I actually purchased is when it's sad to say that people had a problem during the market, right? When the market was coming down.
And you solved
it. It was distressed. I solved it by purchasing the home and just using a very small amount of money down because I did go to seminars, you know, and I laugh because a lot of people like very against like going to seminars or like even my wife, she'd be like, I'm like a seminar junkie, you know? But the truth is I feel like every seminar, you know, basically you're building a foundation. And I always feel like if you miss one seminar or one information or you miss meeting somebody you don't know the future. And with my situation, it's totally true because, you know, even the home that I currently live in, if it wasn't for me going to one seminar and seeing one person and then 3 months later seeing the same person again and then me approaching them and talking with them, which a lot of people just wouldn't approach. I'm like, hey, you're that guy from the other seminar. And we became friends for several years. And I basically watched him. He became a mentor. And then basically there he helped me in the future. I even sometimes just feeling the confidence enough to basically, you know, knock on the door or basically to ask for something, you know? And so I'm definitely appreciative with all the things I've done. And to me, it's like you don't know in that one seminar, the one time that you meet somebody that's going to basically, you know, change you.
I've been to so many seminars. You know, I can't even count them, right? So here's my philosophy, and this puts my wife at ease. I tell her, I say, look, I'm going to go to every single seminar I can, and one of two things is going to happen. I'm going to go, and I am going to be proven that I am smarter than everybody else, because I know everything they're saying, or I'm going to learn something. And so then I get to leave happy that I learned something. And so if you go with that open mind and saying, look, I'm testing my knowledge and my skills against what this person is presenting, what I'm getting out of this. And if they give you something new, then that's a great day, right? If they don't give you anything new, then you pat yourself on the back that it's like, oh, I already knew everything. So either way, it's a win.
So any other business concept that we have a few minutes left, any other business that you recommend? I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit.
No, that's all right. I'll tell you, my biggest recommendation for people is find something that you enjoy to do. And we had a little conversation about this before. I'm going to put a caveat out there because we talked about the biggest problems in business these days, which is something that you need to at least be aware of. And I'll tell you, the number one thing you want to look out for, because you can make money at anything. And you talk about Amazon, people could be an Amazon seller. They could they could sell cars, do real estate, you know, even these multi-level marketing things. Any one of them, what I would caution everybody on is make sure that the government doesn't have its fingers in it. The government's something we have to deal with all the time, right? But if I would not recommend somebody get into the insurance industry or the financial planning industry right now. There's a lot of compliance. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of things that the government on any given day can just change direction. And you don't happen to know, right? And so they can just put you out of business. From personal experience, the government has put me out of business a couple different times. And so I recommend everyone, whenever you're going to start a business or head off,
look at the government.
Just look at the government involvement in that industry, right? Okay. Like even real estate. Real estate has a lot of government oversight, but not a lot of integration, right? The government isn't really involved in the real estate transaction. You got to do a lot of legal stuff, but they don't really get their fingers in it, right? Other than the taxes. But you know, some of these other things, they're constantly requiring you to change your business to fit their requirements. Look out for that. Just be careful. And we're getting into some internet regulations as well, and that might be actually a problem for Amazon. So
how would that affect things?
Well, Internet accessibility is one of the things that they're doing. They're requiring you to do more to be more accessible for people with disabilities and people that don't have internet or things like that. So the government is coming in and saying, "Hey, internet people, if you're doing stuff on the internet, you have to comply with these things." Well, think about a small business owner that's selling stuff on Amazon, and he has to have a Braille translator for someone who is blind and wants to buy stuff on Amazon. Can he afford to do that? Right? Is that something that Amazon is going to add in? So that the regulations are always a concern.
It seems like just the government's getting involved in everything. That's
Unfortunately, that the list of things that they're not involved in is getting smaller and smaller. You just want to make sure that they're not integrated into
even with
the
real
business.
estate. People say, "Oh, I'm waiting for the next crash."
Yep.
But the truth is, the government gets involved. They're basically pushing the forbearances to the bank so that there's not another collapse.
Exactly.
So now it's changing the market. The interest rates are going up. Like I always felt that people say there's different cycles, but things are changing because the government's getting involved.
Yep.
So I think it's an issue. But I think it's tough these days. You know, again, if you think about Vegas, what's in Vegas? Casinos. We got franchises, we got fast food. You know, what type of businesses distribute? I mean, I think it's tough. You know, like even my three young kids. It's like, what do you do in the future? And where some people say, "I'll become a doctor, become a lawyer," but then the government's getting involved in that, changing things with regulations for medical and stuff.
So for someone in Vegas, I will throw this out there because you asked specifically about what someone should get involved in. If you're here in Vegas, and I would build something. Because there's a lot of cool government assistance for manufacturers in Las Vegas. We're having more and more manufacturing come in. It's been hospitality and gaming for so long, but we have several manufacturers. Yeah, manufacturing is getting bigger here. People coming from California to do business in Las Vegas. And so if someone wanted to start a business, I would look seriously in Las Vegas at manufacturing something. You know, build something and build it here. Made in America, made in Las Vegas, and I think there's a lot of good support from the government for that. They want those kinds of jobs in town.
Awesome. So if people need to get in touch with you, so I know that the Coaching Vegas, which you're the founder of, it's almost done, complete. Is it for the new year that you're basically being set up for?
November 17th.
Okay.
Actually, so we're right in the thick of it right now.
Is there a website or that you want to plug where people can go find you
So
if they're looking for a coach?
It likely will be coachingvegas.com, but we're still working out the final name there. But yeah, if anyone is interested in talking about Coaching Vegas, either looking for a coach or wanting to be a coach on the platform, that they can search for me on LinkedIn, Jim Root. It's really easy to find me. Or you could even call me. I didn't give you my phone number, but I'll say it now.
Yeah, what's your number?
Area code 702-518-2525. That comes directly to me. So give me a call. Happy to.
Are you on Instagram or Facebook? Or?
The Coaching Vegas is not. I am personally Jim Root. Again, pretty easy to find me.
So Jim Root on Instagram?
Yep. At Jim Root on
and
Instagram.
Also on
Facebook as well.
And then would you say, I don't want to say Indeed.
LinkedIn.
I don't want to think Indeed.
LinkedIn.
They sound the same these days. Okay.
I do most of my my business stuff on LinkedIn, so that's where I have a better presence.
So
than
if
anything
anyone's
else.
interested, like I said, you can contact Jim in regards to finding him on LinkedIn and online. But again, as usual, you can contact me, the Problem Solver, 702-999-1111. If you want me, I'll get you in contact, do a group text message with Jim.
Awesome.
If anyone's looking for a coach or Coaching Vegas, basically helping them for the future, then definitely reach out to myself or Jim in general. Jim, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Just getting some insight. We'll have you come back on another time as well. Once you opened up and you have some different coaches, at least we can showcase who you have.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Match them in general. So I do appreciate your time. And like I said, it is a crazy time in general. So I think that some of the advice and information, even the chat, GPT as well. So if you're basically trying to do a business in the future or even coaching or solving a problem, I think that's one thing that people need to do is start.
ChatGPT is a great place to just ask a question. If you're wondering what to do next, ask ChatGPT. It's not the perfect answer, but it's a start. It's an answer. At least you get an answer and you can move forward.
Well, awesome, Jim. I appreciate your time on the show again. Any of
Thanks
the
for
viewers
having
and
me
listeners again. Dave Colmeyer, the Problem Solver again, LasVegasProblemSolver.com, 702-999-1111. Again, 702-999-1111. I'm David Colmeyer, the Problem Solver. Keep in touch, be safe, and we'll see you next week.